Welcome back to Jimmy Making It Work. We're going to spend a day in the shop fixing some cars. We got a beautiful sunrise, a crystal clear sky this morning, but it's 46 degrees. That's ridiculous. I mean, some of you guys have a really good tolerance for that stuff. I don't anymore. I'm from Long Island, New York originally. You might hear that in my voice a little bit, but I've been down here 35 years. Anything under 50 degrees is ridiculous to me at this point. It might as well be zero. Might as well be no temperature. But we're not here for weather. Although you will get to see the sunrise in just a moment after I put in some clips right here. What's going to happen in this video? Just pull this connector and shut it off. The Malibu from yesterday, I put the coil, the plugs. The Sienna from yesterday, they left it overnight. MKT. This is my first experience with one. Now you can see that beautiful sunrise behind me. You know what's going to happen in this video, at least what kind of cars we'll be working on. Sometimes I'll show the job I might be doing, sometimes I'll show the car, sometimes both. Depends on my mood and how much time I have to edit. The editing part takes about 25 hours to 30 hours for all 5 videos each week, so when I do tool videos, it adds to that. I'm a busy guy, that's what I'm trying to say. So we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna make it worth your time to watch, and we're gonna learn a thing or two, me and you. Let's do this. Stay tuned. Real quick this morning, we noticed it has a bad PCM. If you saw yesterday's video, I could just pull this connector and shut it off. I pulled the connector off. There's no corrosion or anything inside it. So there's something going on the circuit board in there. But it's also setting cam sensor codes. And it probably just has a bad cam sensor, but because of that PCM problem, I'm going to see if I'm getting my 5-volt reference. Key on, engine off. I am getting that. And we'll try on this rear sensor just in case that's the culprit. 5-volt reference. So I know I got my 5-volt reference at the cam sensors, so it probably has a bad sensor and a bad computer, and then we'll see what happens. The Malibu from yesterday, I put the coil, the plugs in this thing, tried to get it running good, and the transmission line that was leaking ran great for me, but when Rob pulled it around last night, the customer wasn't going to come get it in time. He said he felt a little misfire, cold start, and it went away after a few seconds. So I got it back in the shop, and we're going to take a look, ping all the modules, see if it set a code. I got an ECM code. We'll try to see what's up with that. I felt it pulling it in the shop just now. Fire it up, and then it smooths right out. So possibly another bad coil or something going on with the fuel injector. It's not going to be something I did wrong. It's just going to be on top of the other repairs. So we'll see what happens with that. We got to at least try to figure out what it is and what direction to go. And we'll look at the code in a second. Told you it wouldn't take long. We got a code, and it's letting me know that I feel a rough idle. P050D. So it's accurate. Let's start it up, see how it runs. Oh, you know what I'll do too? I'll bring up the misfires first, since we're in here. Data stream, misfire data. I'm going to bring up the 4 cylinders. Current. All right. Hopefully the screen doesn't go off and back on and tell me to turn off the ignition or something. We'll bring it up on graph and fire this thing up, see what it does. One and 3. So it set a misfire code. It only hit 1 or 2 misfires it picked up for 1 and 3. The 2 cylinders that didn't get coils yet. It's got a new coil on 2 and a new coil on 4. Misfire on 1 and 3, cold start. So that's probably what's going to end up happening with this. So we'll see. I just want to take a look. Anytime you're charging somebody hundreds of dollars or whatever it may be, 4 spark plugs, a coil, and that cooler line, it might be $800-900 bucks. So we want to at least make sure we covered all our bases and let the customer know what we found and see if they want to go further. I recommended all the coils, but we did the 1 coil, and then I said if we don't do them, at least do the boots. The boots weren't available separately. So we'll see what happens with this one. That's the bottom line. And then we'll see if there's something else to do while they get in touch with the customer. All right, the other one is the Sienna from yesterday. They left it overnight so we can see if it does not go into gear, which I'm sure the customer's not lying about it. I just want to feel it. Normally, if that's the case, you're talking about a pump problem, or it's not picking up fluid, like filter falls off or something. But these have a screen that bolts in, so it's going to end up being a transmission problem once I feel it and verify it. Sometimes you can try overfilling it to see if the problem goes away. And then you'll know it's losing prime or the filter's not attached or something crazy like that. But put it in gear and go. It works. That's another possibility. It might not do what the customer's talking about. So it could be a solenoid not letting it build pump pressure. It could be the pump itself. Interesting. Let me, I think I looked yesterday for bulletins, but I'm gonna have to check bulletins again. We're also gonna have to defrost this windshield because right now I can't see, and that's bad. Oh, now it's in neutral. Nope, there it goes. Now it's in neutral. It's not going. Okay. It barely moves the car. You know what I can do? Get my scanner on it and see what line pressure it has. I don't know if I'll even get it in the shop at this point. It did it! That's a good thing. We're getting somewhere. Unfortunately for the customer, I'm 99.99% sure that's a transmission. So it wants to move it. Okay. Let's get the scanner before this thing gets warm enough to stop doing it. See if I can find a line pressure PID, and we'll go from there. Well, I have no data PID for line pressure, but I do have fluid temperature and coolant temperature, and it sees drive and neutral. So we might have to do a mechanical line pressure test, which all it's going to show you is that there's no line pressure. Because if you don't have a line pressure, the bands and the clutches can't clamp and cause movement, right? So it usually means the pump's going out when that happens, in my experience. Some of you guys are transmission experts, probably know more than me about it. You tell me what you think, but probably by the time you see this video, it'll be a week after. But I still appreciate in the comments letting me know what you think, and we'll see what happens with this one. That's probably going to be transmission. My next course of action is to go up front. We already checked fluid level and condition. That's full. Someone serviced it already, probably trying to fix this problem. We've already done all that. So now we need to see how far they want to go, trying to prove that it needs a transmission, or they just want to give them a price on a transmission. Let the customer decide, I guess. So we'll come back to this one. We'll see what happens. If you saw yesterday's video, I gave it a love rating and all that. 130,000 miles. You can't expect a Toyota to go forever. I did find a actuation test for line pressure up solenoid, and I turned it on and I put it in gear, and it still slips, but it wants to go a little bit. Reverse, it goes pretty good. Something going on probably with the first gear clutches or with the line pressure. Changing the line pressure didn't seem to help. If this is working, when I told it on, it shows on and it's actually doing it. I think that's to test the solenoid. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look that up as well. Not a transmission expert, but usually poking around enough, I'll figure it out. All right, back to going see what they want to do if they want to go further. All right, thank goodness customer approved the other two coils. The only thing that's kind of weird is they're shaped differently, or I mean they appear different. They're shaped the same, but they got different appearance to them. But oh, come on, oh, it's charged. That's weird. Bad battery connection. Milwaukee junk. I'm gonna put this cover back on here. We'll fire this thing up, make sure it runs good, and then we'll really be done with it. Oh, that's nice. There's more load on the coils on startup and going up hills, and when I drove it going up the hill, but it wasn't terrible. It was very slight, so it might have gotten away for a little while without doing them. Oh, this thing purrs like a kitten now. All right, let's see if there's something else to do. Oh, that Sienna, I'm not sure if I finalized that thing. It has reverse, but no forward. So when I stopped to think about it, I'm like, well, it's got to have line pressure, wouldn't have reverse. So it's probably a forward clutch that's bad. So we let the customer know that's why when it gets hot, it'll work, because it's just able to make that car move when it gets warm. Everything expands with temperature, right? So it needs a transmission. So we'll see what happens on this Sienna. And this one's done too. We're knocking them out. We're not doing anything really productive, but at least we're getting some people their cars back. That's number one. Got another scan tool. Working on a video for it right now. It's an Xtool 819 is the model number, I believe. Shows you what I know. XB819. IP819. is the model number. We'll see how this thing performs. It feels pretty solid for its size. The only thing it's not 100% perfect is it's not wireless, but it is Bluetooth, bi-directional, all that cool stuff. We'll see how that works. I haven't found a scan tool I absolutely don't like at all so far. I will say, no kickstand, boo! I wonder if there's something you can buy, double-sided tape to the back as a kickstand. I got a couple scan tools with no kickstand. It had 243 updates because I just activated it. Shut up, truck. 2015 Hyundai Sonata with bad hood shocks. Regular customer, just needs a quick oil change. I'm gonna recommend hood shocks though. Nice little lady, she comes in all the time. It's like 1,500 miles early, but she's going by the date. So I adjusted the date up to 1 year. So that's just how I roll. Synthetic oil, I'll go a year, no problem, especially when you're only going 3,000 miles a year. This is going to go really quick. Put in like 6 of the missing screws. That is a lot of updates. It's been like a half an hour now. It's done about half of them. So we got a little ways to go. But at least my Hyma will be up to date. This is a Lincoln. I don't even know what kind yet. But it's the one with the ugliest grill ever. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. It's probably MKZ, MKX, MK3BWYZ or something like that. Got dead battery. Just going to put a battery real quick. Customer already had the jump start, so all their memories erased. I don't have to worry about a memory saver on that. I have a memory saver you can plug into the OBD2 port. That way you keep all your radio stations and clock and stuff, but it's already all gone. I'll show you the car a little closer once I pop this battery in. She's waiting.
Are you done with this, Jimmy?
Yeah. You guys know you can flip these caps around? Most people probably know, but not everyone does. Well, I want to get these terminals all the way down. You guys might know that if you've been watching my videos a while. I see a lot of these, the terminal is not all the way down. And then they get over tight and the terminal gets damaged. These terminals have a taper. They're shaped like this. So if you have it up, you got to squeeze it further, right? Sorry if that's repetitive for guys who've been watching my channel a while, but it bears repeating because not everyone knows. And even after making sure they're all the way down, you still don't crush them all the way. Tighten it so you can't rotate it anymore, and you know it's got a good bite on there. Quick and easy down and dirty battery installation. Rivaling Lexus for some of the ugliest grills ever. MKT. I don't know what that means. Marked truck. Pretty clean inside. Can't help having some leftover Ritzes. That's nothing wrong with that. That's get you through the day right there. Uh-oh. It's only got 66,000 miles on it. Not sure what's going on with this. I think it's a 2015 or so. What year you guys think it is? Uh-oh. There it is. 2012. I think it's 12 years old now. Amazing. Not in bad a shape. Just some little things like the stitching, and something's happened with airbag. It's either being scratched or it's got mascara on it. I don't know. It doesn't rub off. So, in any event, sometimes someone replaces the airbag with a black one and paints it. So, I don't think so though. I think it's just taking some damage. All right. A little slow today. We're coming up with little things to do here and there. We'll make something happen. Uh-oh. Unmarked Dodge Charger. Got him. It's funny, it's stop and go on this side of the road and they're getting speeding tickets on the other side. And there's a big flatbed truck broken down over here. And that guy in that dually, when me and Joe were out at a road test, anyway, that Dodge dually almost hit us trying to pull out across the road, I guess because he wanted to help that flatbed truck so bad. Not a lot going on right now. Just hanging out with Kyle and Rob. Joe's working on this one. It's got the custom hot air intake. I think it's got a turbo. Yeah, it's got exhaust leaks, turbo, hot air intake. Bumper's falling off, but we're gonna get this thing back in fast and furious form in no time. A couple of self-tapping screws right there, good as new. Yeah, it's still pretty slow in case you're wondering. I'm gonna make videos with my from my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna make shorts because that's funny. I don't care who you are. This is not good for boost because the only reason this is happening is because of this. Because the motor mount broke, so it's letting this crush this rubber pipe. This is supposed to be back about 3 inches further, and that's why the exhaust is leaking. So, if you know anything, this is an aftermarket turbo, I guess. I don't know. No, this must be a factory turbo car. Maybe it's an N. This must be a turbo car. Yep, turbo Veloster turbo factory, but he's put some cool stuff on it. So what's happening is the broken mount is letting the exhaust leak, so it's going to make less boost, and it's collapsing the intake, so that's going to make less manifold pressure. Okay, so it needs a motor mount basically, and it'll mostly be fixed. Time to go get the conversion van out of Never Never Land. I got the cap and rotor finally, and we're going to do a little wiring patch, get that harness in better shape, make sure that's not going to cause any more issues. They can't get the knock sensor for it though, but we're going to do everything else. It was interesting. It gave me a hard time starting. It's something I haven't experienced yet. We may have to mess with that too. I try to do most engine work on these from the passenger side because the steering wheel is in the way on the other side, but sometimes you don't have an option. Usually you can get these wires off here without too much fuss, but sometimes they like to stick in place, and there's a really aggressive clip in the wire inside there, so we definitely want to give them a good tug. try to keep them in order. If they're not in the harness, this is in the holder, so it'll be all right. If they're not in the holders, then if you know your GM firing order, it's on the cap, 246, 135, super easy. But that's why these caps go bad, because the way these are laid out, they make it convenient to put the wires on, and they have them inside the plastic mold so that when it burns through or the plastic gets weak, they crossfire, and it causes misfiring. It was a great idea, and it helped them go with a coil and plug, so it would just bridge the gap between distributor and no distributor. Now, 2 Torx bits hold it on. I got my extension this time. If you guys didn't see the other video, that is not good. So that can cause a little misfire action. And it's a different size for the rotor. We have that too. You see it's got contamination on the tip. That's the advanced weights, or the distributor shaft lifting up on in the housing. That's probably what it is, yeah. It's lifting up in the housing. There's a bushing in there, and a lot of times if you can wiggle this shaft left and right, you need to replace the cam sensor. It's really not a distributor. It's a cam sensor and cap holder, basically. Well, I guess it distributes the spark, so technically it is still a distributor. I'm gonna get a blowgun and blow some of this carbon dust or corrosion dust out of there too. Be right back. I feel better about it. Let's see here. Make sure my rotor is the same size and all that cool stuff. Should come with new hardware. There's a large pin and a small pin. One's close to the screw, one's further away, so you can't face it the wrong direction. You got to feel it drop down on there. Make sure it's on the pins right, centered in there. New screws come with it. Oddly enough, it gives you the screws for the cap and rotor with the rotor, and then it gives you the screws for the cap with the cap. So you always end up with extras of these. The little screws go in here. All right, don't fight it. There's thread lock on the screws too. I'm not cross-threading them, but I appreciate you worrying about it. Cap. Coil faces to the passenger side. Should be a notch in the cap and the rotor, and the cam sensor housing, so that you can't hook it up wrong. And these screws are slightly larger, and this one's hard to get to, especially with my chubby fingers. I kind of need a magnet maybe, but we'll see. There it goes. Now these you got to be really careful. I see these rotor housings or distributor housings crack because people over tighten them. It only goes into plastic. So I'll just go a little snug. Little snug. As soon as you feel that thing bottom out, you're done. And make sure you can't lift the cap or rock the cap. You're good. Throw these wires back on here. We'll go out and fix that wiring harness. Man, this brings back memories. I haven't done one of these in forever. Most of these old girls are out in salvage by now. I didn't hear a click. What's in there? Okay, the end's correct on that. Usually I feel a click. Looks okay. It's weird. None of them really clicking on this side. But they're tight. They're not going to fall off. Alright. I'm not going to put the doghouse on. I want to fix that wiring harness real quick. I'm going to put some silicone where the wires are lightly damaged. If you guys remember that video, there's just the slightest little bit of a wear mark in the insulation where it let the inside of the wire touch that bracket. So I'm just going to put a little silicone on there because it's way more expensive to remove the harness, repair the wires 100%, re-insulate them and all that stuff. It's really not worth it. This repair will be perfect. It's not going to be a half-ass repair, or should I say more family friendly. It's not going to be a poorly done repair. It will be a very good repair, and it'll outlast the vehicle. So a little silicone on the wire insulation to seal it. I'll wrap a piece of heater hose that I'll put a slot in, wrap it around the wiring, tie wrap it good and tight, put it back in the metal bracket, and we know that won't be causing a problem anymore, and we'll see how it runs after that. All right, got a little silicone on there. I'm gonna cut this piece of heater hose down so I can get it where I know it's gonna be tight on the harness and not want to slip off. So I think it's not gonna take a whole bunch out to get that to happen. I already moved a decent amount of it. That should be good. It's going to be kind of hard to see in there, so I will I'm going to wrap this around it, get these tie wraps on it, and then flush cut it with the old Icon flush cutter. I think these are down to like, when I bought this it was like $42 or something. They're down to like $25 or $28.99 or something. Anyway, great little tools. They're not like side cutters. They're actually made flat, and they will cut the tie wrap completely flush with the little clip retention end, so you won't be slicing your hand when you go across the tie wrap. That's the theory anyway. Let's do this real quick and we'll come back and show you what it looks like. Now what? I also don't like to leave tie wraps on the floor everywhere I work. So that's another thing. If I drop one, I gotta pick it up. That's just how I roll. That's pretty much a good repair right there. I know some people might not like it, but the problem is when you do things to absolute perfection, like I always talk about, like Eric O from South Main Auto, how awesome a mechanic he is and how thorough his repairs are. And he does kind of in a flat rate world thing, but it takes more time. Like if you watch Sarah Entuned, I mean, she'd make this repair take about 12 hours, which is $2,000. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to fix it right. It's going to be very good repair. That area is not going to have a problem the life of this vehicle again, like I said earlier. So let's button this up a little bit, let this thing run, and we'll grab that Xtool scanner and make sure the check engine light's only on because of the knock sensor code, because I had to crank this thing for a while to get it to start. So it is possible, like I suspected when I first looked at this. If you saw the video, these are bad for the spiders and fuel pumps, and it could be something going on with too much fuel or not enough, because it really didn't want to start. It's pretty cold today. Maybe we have a new code. Let's take a look. All right, it does come with a decent length cord at least. Turn this thing on. There's a little on button on the top. It actually lights up. For anyone who hasn't heard of Xtool, I've seen their scan tools on the market for quite a while. This is my first experience with one. Turn the key on. Let's do auto scan. Sorry about the key ring. Let me close this door. This is a 2000, so it's right around the cutoff where it might or might not do it. All right, it wants me to add the VIN manually. Communicating. I'm not sure if it auto ID'd because of the tool or because it's a 25-year-old vehicle. Two-wheel drive express 2000. Okay. Now, I'm gonna do a quick code search before automatic scan. It wouldn't auto ID, maybe it'll automatic scan. It's thinking there's gonna be 5 modules, I suppose. Let's see. We'll give this a minute and we'll show you what that looks like once it gets done cooking. All right, it wouldn't auto scan. It kind of stayed on auto scan for a little while. So I went into System Diagnose, Powertrain, Read Trouble Code, Diagnostic Trouble Code, Knock Sensor Module Performance. And that's the code we had last week when I looked at this, and they can't get the knock sensor module. And this code, 99 out of 100 times, means that module's either bad or it's not even installed. And this van has a salvage computer. So I'm assuming it's not installed. Definitely possible that it's also not working correctly, but this code doesn't mean the sensors are bad or it doesn't like the circuits. It's saying the module is not working in the computer. So, and if you clear it, it comes right back. We tried that last week. So, but I also have the option of looking at live data, which is what I want to look at right now. And we will see what we have for engine data. We'll go through some of those different options and see what they look like. Now it'll let me customize my data. If I have 3 or 4 data PIDs I want to look at, it'll let me pick just 3 or 4 out of the list. And a lot of scan tools, no matter what they cost, the less of those data lines you choose, the faster and more accurate they are. They refresh a little better and all that kind of thing. So for now, we're just going to go ahead, go through these, see what they look like, make sure our TPS is right, which is this throttle position sensor, about 0.5 volt. Startup engine coolant temp was Celsius. We don't want that. I want Fahrenheit. Oh, this is just to open up a graph. Okay, that's cool. You can open up a graph for each data PID. That's pretty handy. I can watch the engine warm up. But I want to change from Celsius to Fahrenheit. And I probably have to go to settings. Settings. Oh, this is all my actual computer settings. That's not what I want. That is not what I want. I want to go home, diagnostics. All right, looks like it's staying on Celsius for now. I'm gonna need instructions to figure that out. I want to change that. And usually if you click near it, it will let you pick Fahrenheit. But we'll figure that out later on. Map sensor is reading a little high, but the engine RPM is a little high while the engine's cold. Baro is at 5 volts. I want to say that should be about 2.5. I'm gonna have to look into that, see what the specification is for Baro when you're at sea. We're about 8 foot above sea level in Central Florida, so it should be about sea level. So we're gonna have to check that and make sure that reading is right. Everything's on Celsius. So when I exit out of this car, I'll be able to change the parameters for that at the first screen before I go into my diagnostic session. Intake air temp, mass airflow, 6.7 grams a second. Nothing that to be concerned about though. Fuel trims, -3%. Short-term trim. It's adding fuel in the short term. That means it thinks it's a little lean. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, let it warm up. Engine speed. Fuel trim is not enabled yet, which that just means closed loop. Once the O2 sensors are hot enough and the cat's hot enough, then we'll get fuel trim control will be more accurate. Knock sensor, 5 volts. Shouldn't be 5 volts. Cam position retard, 18 degrees. That doesn't seem right. It should be close to 0. But you got to go off idle usually to see. Let's see if that goes to 0 off idle. What that shows you is correction for the position of the distributor or for wear in the timing chain. So we may try adjusting that distributor housing a little bit to get that closer to 0. Everything else looks pretty good. Not sure why I'm getting the extended crank cold. I'm gonna have to back out of this vehicle, change these parameters to Fahrenheit so I can relate, because we're not in Europe. All right, I backed out. Let's go to settings. Unit, metric, nope, imperial. That's what I'm talking about. Now, let's go into diagnosis. My vehicles. Oh, it's not in there. I was hoping it would be saved. I didn't finish anything, probably that's why. Chevrolet, manual selection. Not doing that again. I typed the VIN in manually the first time, but you can put it in without doing that. All you gotta do is be willing to back out and go through all of these little potential options, whether it's two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, express, pickup truck, etc. So that's what we're gonna do this time. This is a 4.3. System diagnose, powertrain, live data, engine data 1. Now because I haven't shut the key off, I'll still be able to see my startup coolant temperature, and it'll be in Fahrenheit. Let's go see. Startup temperature, 69.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now, 145 degrees Fahrenheit. I apologize if someone in Europe is watching this and would rather have it in Celsius, but I'm actually repairing this car for somebody who happens to be a viewer as well. Every car is important to me, but I definitely want to figure out everything going on with this vehicle that I can, get it sorted out for the customer and for the viewer, and I need Fahrenheit to do that, so I apologize if you're used to Celsius. Now I got PSI on my map, so what this means, if atmosphere is 14.7, I have 8 inches of vacuum. It's not very high, if that's accurate. There could be something going on with the map sensor on this truck, but it is running pretty good right now. My fuel trims are getting a little better. Still a little added fuel. I'm going to take a look around with the engine cover off. It's going to get kind of noisy, but I want to go over some of the things this scan tool can do. And the only thing so far that it kind of has me a little concerned, it wouldn't auto ID. We'll try it on another vehicle and see how it goes on that one. This does not have an adjustable cam sensor. It's a fixed position, so that's just compensating for timing chain wear. We tried. I wanted to try to get that closer to 0, but it's not out terrible, but closer to 0 the better. Uh-oh. Looks like they're closed up in there. I didn't even know. I'm gonna mess with this a couple more minutes, try to figure out something else, if I can find something else going on. I don't see anything. It actually runs pretty good. Some of the data is a little bit, I don't know, not where I like it, but considering it's closing in 170,000 miles at 25 years old, it's not really that bad. That's okay. So but we're gonna end the video here, guys. Slow day today. We got a few things done, but I hope you found it to your liking and it was something you got out of it. Maybe enough to torque the like button, or check out some more content in the corners up here. There'll be a video recommended by YouTube and a compilation recommended by me. Probably the project truck. Got to get some more views for the old girl. We might be working on a new project soon. I've been looking at a couple of things, but I need approval from the vice president of the corporation. Hi honey, if you're watching, love you. Torque the like button on your way out, guys, if you would, and don't forget too, a lot of these tools I use are in my Amazon store. If you're interested in picking something up, check the Amazon store out for me. It really helps the channel and I appreciate that. They send a few quarters and nickels my way for each purchase. If you buy something expensive, they send a couple of dollars. So keep that in mind when you're ready to buy something that you might have seen in one of my videos. I really appreciate that. Every little bit helps, but either way, just torquing the like button, subscribing, maybe clicking the bell for notifications, all that stuff helps. You don't have to buy anything, it's all free. Hope I see you in the next video, because you're awesome. That's funny. I just came in from working on it, and the guys are watching it in here. They're awesome.